All right, guys and ladies, this next lesson is probably from the responses that I've been getting about the course. This is probably the one that I think a lot of people definitely deal with the most. And this lesson is going to be geared to how to get over negative experiences with people in the past. And the reason why that this lesson is so important is because it's probably one of the reasons why you don't open yourself up to meeting new people, opening up your social circle, and even, as far as like having other, romantic relationships, right? This is important. You've got to first be aware, right, of the fact that you were in a situation, it could be with a former, let's say, business partner that, maybe betrayed you in some way, maybe ran off with some money that belonged to both of you. Maybe it was someone like a former friend who maybe said some negative things about you that were maybe lies to other people. Maybe it was like a former spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, right? These things happen in life. These things happen, and you've got to dig down, find a way to get over these situations. And I'm going to help you to do so. It's easier said than done, but I think that some of the stuff that I'll be talking about will help you in this lesson. Excuse me. So when we think about, growing our network, that's the first thing that has to happen. We've got to be open to the idea of that. And if you're, I don't want to say dwelling, but if you feel as if though you've been in a state that of resentment towards other people, it's only going to hurt you. Okay. I'm a firm believer, okay, that in two different things that I'm going to talk about. One is taking, why am I drawing a blank right now? Responsibility. I'm sorry, guys. You got to take responsibility, number one. And number two, knowing that everything happens for a reason. All right. So when you look back at whatever relationship that may have caused you some pain, you got to look at it as, number one, taking responsibility and saying to yourself, well, what did I do in the situation that may have caused some friction? And I know you're probably listening to this and you're saying, well, I didn't do anything. There's nothing that I did. They did me dirty. They did me wrong. They're the one that, backstabbed me. I get it. And I'm pretty sure you're probably right. But somewhere along the line, you made a decision to be their friend. You made a decision to go in business with them. You made a decision to, have them as a spouse. And you've got to take a look at the entire situation. And then you've got to say to yourself, well, if I'm being honest with me, here's where I went wrong. Here's where I shouldn't have done this, because this may have led to that. Because no matter what, we all play a part and play a role in the outcome of our lives in every situation that we deal with. We all do. And we've got to take responsibility. So many people, what they do is they find any reason to like dish off responsibility, right? Oh, this only happened, because of that person. This bad thing happened to me because of that person over there. This bad thing happened to me because of that situation over there. You know what you're doing when you do that? And this is going into the second thing. You're giving away the power of the blessing of the negative situation that happened to you. So I said, first thing was taking responsibility. The second thing is to understand that everything happens for a reason. You see, a lot of times we go through things in our lives that don't feel good because they were meant to teach us something. They were meant to teach us where we have probably been weak at in our lives, and it was meant to strengthen us. Maybe that relationship, had a negative effect in a certain area in our lives, and a higher power said, in order for you to get further, because you've been saying you want to, make more money, you want to have a lot more opportunities, you want to be able to have a more fulfilling social life. Well, guess what? This has got to be removed in order for that to happen. And if you continue to allow yourself to resent what happened, the negative situation, okay, you won't have the capacity to be open to receive the knowledge of the blessing in that negative situation. So That's the reason why you've got to move on. You've got to find a way to make peace with it and move on. We all deal with it. I've dealt with it. I don't think there's anyone on earth that hasn't dealt with a sour situation with someone else. Okay, no one on earth is perfect, and we're not meant to be perfect, but we are meant to take the lessons in our lives and use them as a stool to get us, to closer to our goals. So you got to think about that. Okay, what transpired in that situation? Well, maybe I did realize that I did blank wrong. I could have actually done this better. And if I did this better, this would have led me into this situation. When you allow yourself to have that real conversation with you'll see that everything starts to kind of open up a little bit more. Never taking responsibility for anything will have you in a constant merry-go-round. You'll be in this carousel that continues to spin and spin and spin a lot in your life, and you don't go anywhere. Because you're not receiving the blessing in that. You're not receiving the lesson. You're not receiving the educational point of where you could have done better, so that you can take that newfound knowledge and apply it to your life in the future. Okay? Understand, everything happens for a reason. Okay? Nothing happens to you because of no reason. It's either something that you've done that you could have corrected, and it's something that you're supposed to learn from. There's there's a saying that what the mind can conceive and believe, it can't achieve. And I've said that probably several times in this course. But in order for you to achieve big things, okay, most of us, especially if you've taken the time out to jump on a course like this, you've invested money to be on a course like this. You're taking this because you want something for yourself in order to get to a new height, to a new level. You want something for yourself out of this course and this investment. Whatever that goal is, you want this course to assist you getting to a new place, right? I want to help you get to that new place. That new mountaintop is going to come with brand new experiences, good experiences, bad experiences, right? Just because you earn more money doesn't mean that all the problems go away. But how are you able to deal with the new problems if you don't understand how to handle the current ones that you have now? Okay. That's the whole premise of, just getting over the past. So this lesson is, helping you get past the situation with a person or people so that you can move on and grow your network and open yourself up to new people. But that rule kind of applies to so many different things in life. Past experiences that hurt were meant to help you grow. They were meant to make you better if you look at them and use them that way. If you just take everything, all of those experiences for granted, by not taking some sort of responsibility and allowing them to be, and say, that was a messed up time in my life, but I'm so happy for it. Most of the growth that I've ever experienced in my life happened during a time when I had to get over some stuff. When I first got involved with network marketing 13 years ago, right? I don't do it anymore, but network marketing was a catapult in my life. I was able to make so much income. I was able to meet a lot of different people. It really helped me in my life in so many different ways. But prior to that jump in my life, I was in a situation where I didn't know what to do in my life. I was in my early mid-20s. I was trying to figure my life out. I didn't know what I was doing. And instead of me blaming everyone around me, my life sucks. I'm not making enough money. It's because of this, it's because of that, it's because of this. I read a book once. And this book, it was a behavioral science book. I actually forgot the name of the book, and it was part of an online course that I was taking as well. It was part of a school course, not a digital course like this. But in the book, it stated that, there's two types of mindsets that you can choose to look at a situation from. You can be a pessimist or you can be an optimist, right? A pessimist sees a situation as the glass half empty. The optimist sees the glass half full. Same glass, two different perspectives on it. The pessimist sees the opportunity or sees the situation as negative. The optimist sees it as a positive, right? They said scientifically, the people who refer to the optimistic part of their mind more, they achieved more, they had more. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The person who was a pessimist and always saw the glass half empty and every situation was negative, they actually went down a different path and never really had major success. They had health problems, and the list goes on. It all starts here, you know. How many times did the bad situation happen to you in your life? It happened once, right? But how many times do you replay it in your mind? Hundreds, thousands of times, over and over and over again. You know, what happens in here, you know, comes out into the real world. What happens in here also has an effect on the body. So if you take what I'm saying and you really just, you know, look in the mirror and say, you know what, all of these bad things that's happened to me, if I actually corrected something, I'm not saying that you were at fault of these things. I'm not saying that. I'm definitely not blaming you for a lot of things that's happened to you. What I'm saying is you had a part in it. And if you take responsibility of these parts, you can then use the learning lessons in those responsibility pockets to move towards a better future for yourself, a future that, you know, you dream of. And I'm saying that from experience. You know, I spent a lot of time being a negative pessimist. Before I read that book in my early 20s, everything was like, you know, why me? Why me? Why this? Why is this always happening to me? And I read that book and I was like, damn, I'm reading about myself. This is me I'm reading about. So, you know, maybe I need to start changing my outlook on life. And I promise you, man, as there is anything that I can swear on, that outlook on my life changed everything for me. So from a person who's dealt with that, telling you, do the same, your life will change. The future of your network and the opportunities that come to you is really dependent on your mindset on this aspect moving forward. All right.